Hey, I'm Danny Archer. I had a 27-year U.S. Army Special Operations career, a Special Operations pilot for 19 years and a Special Operations Ground Force guy for 6. I mean, I did pretty much everything that was aggressive possible. You know, airborne, fast roping, demolitions, sniper, flight school, and then controlled crashes in the desert trying to get guys in and out. TBI, whenever I started the medical retirement process, I didn't think it was a thing. Been knocked out a few times on hard landings, you know, like with a parachute and drug down on my face on a runway, like stupid stuff like that. But I was blown away whenever I got into the process and found out that, like, hey, you've got multiple TBIs. That kind of got me into the mindset that, like, you know, for so long in my military career, as long as you're breathing and you can move forward, you just keep going and you just endure and just keep going after it. Rarely do you ever get the opportunity to sit, stop, do some personal assessment. Because if you can move, you're good. And back in the day, nobody wanted to hear about you complaining. They just wanted the job done. As we've now endured the 20-year war, and now you have these veterans that have lived and thrived in that for so long now it's time for guys to do that assessment now. And I pretty much constantly had a headache. It was just something that you just kind of endured. You always blamed it on, I didn't drink enough water, I didn't have enough caffeine. But I honestly, I didn't self-identify that it was TBI. I thought it was all the other things. And then come to find out, once I get my brain assessed, like, I've got this damage on there that's affecting my daily life and how I process information and how I feel and the emotions that are being produced by these, you know, the naturally produced chemicals in your body. So going to sleep has never been a problem for me. As a ground dude, or even, you know, as a pilot, if it was time and you had the ability to sleep 5 minutes, you would do that. I could take it an almost instantaneous nap. What I found is that I would sleep super hard for 2 to 4 hours, and then I would wake up, my mind would go crazy. I would start thinking about all this crap, and I could never shut the chaos down. By the time that I got ready to go back to sleep, it was right before it was time to get up, honestly, and I'd get back into a deep sleep. So then whenever I wake up, I just feel terrible. I'm groggy, I'm angry, you know. I will tell you, I haven't slept 8 hours solid, and I can't even tell you how long. My sleep has been roll from one side to another, to another, to another, to another, because my back is awful. You know, through the therapies and what they've been able to complete here, for the first time in my life, I went to bed at 10 o'clock and I woke up at 6:15, and I don't think that I rolled over. And I had no back pain for the first time in probably 15 years. And that is profound. So I found out about the Coast to Coast Foundation through one of my good buddies that I served with. I kind of take on this Uncle Danny approach with a lot of these guys that I've worked with. You know, I'm the guy that, you know, checks on them and sees how they're doing and all that stuff. Here's the trajectory of everybody that I know that gets out, especially if they've been pipe hitting for a long time, to do this. They have all this purpose and energy and all this other stuff, and then everybody has to lose that, plummet to the ground, and you either do a near miss, find new direction, and pull up, and then it works out, or you crash and burn, and you turn into some kind of chemical dependent, agoraphobe, a guy that doesn't just blend with society in general, just stops talking to people, and at some point it turns into some kind of self-elimination situation. When my buddy retired, you know, I worried about him because he was chaos, right? I watched my buddy and I watched out for him with the signs and phone calls and drinking and all this. And then at some point, somebody got him to come and do this. I was blown away with how much he changed. It was almost like, that ain't real. But then next thing you know, he goes from, I don't know, you know, the dude that I'm worried about, to, like, he's totally squared away. He's now in chiropractic school and he wants to get in and do the exact same thing that they're doing here at the clinic because he's such a believer in it now. And honestly, if I was younger, I would probably do the same thing because I totally get it. That change that I saw in him was enough for me to go, you know what? I don't care. Like, you know, my wife would be like, well, what are they going to do? And all this. I'm like, honestly, I don't care. Like, I see that change right there. And if that's possible for me, I'm all in. How soon from starting my therapy till before I noticed the change? And this is going to sound ridiculous. On day 3, I was an utter believer. I've been in the military, you know, like getting all this treatment and stuff for so long with pain and Toradol shots to keep me in the aircraft, and, you know, painkillers to keep my, like, back and knees and all that, you know, under control. In the first day, you just do assessments and they show what, like, you realize like, oh crap, I'm pretty bad. By day 3, I felt like a different person. And it was like, I remember like getting worked on and then sitting in like the spinny chair where I got to do all this stuff because it's a layered task. And all of a sudden I remember going, holy crap, my back doesn't hurt. And I can't, like, I prefer to stand now because my back hurts so much now. But now, look at this. I've been doing this interview. It's only like 10 minutes, but right now for me, personally, that's a huge win. And I'm talking just the brain, loss of brain fog, you know, the headaches going down, my back pain dramatically going down. My knees, they're terrible and they need to get replaced. Everything feels good, but the mechanics of that, it's still bad. But everything else, man, it's insane what they're able to do here in such a short period of time. Without drugs, without, you know, things that you probably don't want to go into your body to mask things anyway. It's like going to the source of the problem and fixing it at the source inside of your brain. And it's almost an immediate feeling. I look at some balls on a string in a different direction after just literally checking my blood pressure. And by the direction and pace at which I'm shifting these things, she's affecting my blood pressure. And then all that went the wrong direction. So he changes the angle. And then the blood pressure goes in the opposite direction. She puts this in here and then all of a sudden my blood pressure goes right back to 120/80. And I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't, like, you might as well have just told me this whole time that aliens have been here the whole time. That's how, like, the upside down this place was like. I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. And so it's fun because, you know, so I have new roommates here and we all cycle through staying in a place together, and we're offset by 1 week. So like, I'm the second week guy and these guys just started. They're on day 3 and they're just starting treatment. And last night, their minds were already blown away by like just all of it. They make this environment so comfortable. They explain everything in a super scientific way that it goes way over my head. And I just start saying, are you saying purple? Because I don't really know what you're saying right there. Their patient care is off the chain. Kind of one-on-one with the task. They're explaining what we're gonna do, why we're doing it, how we're gonna try to recreate this synapse in your brain. And, you know, this information that has normally been a point to point from the left side of your brain to the right side of the brain, but because of trauma, it's been broken, or it's been, and then now you have all of this from TBI and whatever else kind of trauma that you've somewhat endured. And now they're able to replace those from these layered tasks that you're asked to do. She has me write down a story, or she writes down as I tell a story with all these finite details from like the car, the description of the car, directions I go down, how far, and then I go to a grocery store with a shopping list, and then I get all these different shopping lists, and I go out to the car and I go left and I go like 32 miles to a big red barn and like 3 types of animals, what their names are, like, it's ridiculous. And then I get thrown into this spinny chair where I've got it, like, I'm spinning and I've got a metronome that's like, and I'm trying to march while I'm looking at these lights at the same time, or these little spots. And while I'm calling off every professional baseball team that I can think about, and it's utter chaos. It's like 5 things layered on top of each other. And then she stops and then she's like, okay, tell me the story. And I'll be damned if I don't tell the whole damn story. And I'm like, what? I can tell it so profoundly that I see it like a movie in my head. Before this training, I mean, hell, I couldn't remember what I did yesterday sometimes. That you can hold on to. To everybody out there that is probably watching this video and like, this dude's full of crap, I'm gonna tell you this. I was a disbeliever, and this is how I feel telling this story right now. Imagine if we all had this wound on a knee and you've been getting chemicals and all this stuff and yours it just still hurts, but whatever. But I was given this magic Band-Aid and I put it on that wound and mine heals. Don't I have a responsibility to tell you, get your head out of your ass, reach out and find a contact and then see if you can make this happen for you. They pretty much pay for everything, which is ridiculous. You just have to set your schedule, say whenever you're available to do, and they will line up, fly you out here, get you a rental car, put you in some sort of lodging that supports your, whatever you need, and they'll take care of you. And 2 weeks later, hell, not even 2 weeks, you're gonna be like, what? And honestly, you sound like you're full of crap. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hear the buddies that I've called and I've told them, I'm like, look, I feel so I feel so powerful about this right now. If I call you and I put your name in and then you don't answer that call, like, I'm gonna come find you and kick the shit out of you because you just wasted a slot for somebody to come and get better. And that's how I feel about this. Like, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense to me, the science, whatever, but guess what? And I'm going to get involved and help, and I'm going to help promote this, and you're probably going to see more of this stuff because I'm so all into this, it's ridiculous. So for all the donors and people that made this possible, for me and everybody else that has been able to go through this, thank you so much. You know, my family hasn't had a chance to really kind of see the new version of me and like how, you know, I'm going to be whenever I get back. But I know, and I can feel it. For all the guys that have already came through, thank you for taking care of them, because that's tough. So, and also I wanted to give a special thanks to Coast Foundation, which funded me to be able to come out here and made it possible for me to receive this treatment, which is, it's game changing. Thank you so much.